Green, green, green. Question, what keeps you motivated, what kept me keeping that perspective, is I never lost really belief that I could do it. I never really lost that. Confidence kind of goes up and down throughout years and different, but I always felt like given the right circumstance, the right situation, I'll be able to contend. But grinding it out for as many years as it took to be back in that position was hard. So to answer your question, number one was my faith. I felt like God allowed me to be here. And even though it sucked, and even though it wasn't pretty, and even though it wasn't great, I was still one of 40, and I was getting to do something that people would love to do. So I wasn't going to have a bad attitude about it. Second thing is that even though it sucked, I still needed to be a good steward to work as hard as I could. And so while I was doing that, I was learning. I was doing everything I could to be prepared for that day that I do get the opportunity, I'll be able to maximize it. And then as years went on, it just kept getting just a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and it felt like, okay, I'm getting a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. So,
and maybe that progression of running better, maybe
it keeps you
that confidence.
Yeah, and then also too, just having.
I don't suck as bad as I thought. Maybe I think I do.
Having goals, right? Like even though they weren't lofty, they weren't like, oh, run 5th today. It was, all right, I'm gonna be off the track at lap 50 because we're starting parking. I'm gonna pass 4 or 5 guys. That was my goal, right? Like I made these goals, or I'm gonna qualify in the 20s this weekend, and so I still had things I was achieving, even though they weren't lofty, and so so that you're not miserable, so you're not just down and out. So it was a tough process. But that's what makes winning the 500 so much more rewarding, is knowing like it was 10 years of grinding it out. And
you were an overnight success in 10 years, right?
Yeah.
The old saying, right?
Yeah, so, but yeah, just really feeling like God's allowed me to be here and I need to push hard.
So, arguably before your Daytona win, your biggest claim to fame was the 2008 Texas race. We didn't talk about concussions and head injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't dare.
Yeah.
I mean, but now Dale Jr.'s pretty much covered that, and diaried that and all that. Looking back, do you see maybe any effects? And maybe I should have sat out of the car. I mean, boy, I can really, now that he's talking about that, I felt that too. Anything like that?
I have thought about it, but really I can honestly and confidently tell you, I don't think I ever had any issues like that, concussion issues or head issues.
Because statute of limitations should be over, so.
And like you said too, like we wouldn't say it even if we did at the time, and I totally get that. And things have changed, and we have much better processes in place. And but I don't think I really suffered from any of those things. I have some ankle injuries and some back injuries from the wreck and just from the grind of being in the sport. But from a head standpoint and concussion standpoint that I'm aware of, I don't really feel like I have had any effects, and I don't know if it's because that impact was so forward. It was so forward that I wasn't hitting the headrest or going like that. It was dead on. That maybe that's not why that I didn't have any issues, but I haven't had any signs or symptoms that maybe I did have it and should have told somebody. I haven't had any.
And the irony is that Dale Jr. has that car intact in his what do you call it, junkyard
Yeah,
graveyard?
graveyard, yeah.
Have you revisited it at all?
I have, yeah. He's allowed me to come out there and check it all out, and I brought some friends to come see it. Yeah, it's a part of history, like you said. You know, it's not my favorite part of my history,
Right.
But it is part of it, and so, you know, to me, it doesn't bother me.
How much longer are you going to do this?
As long as they'll let me. You know, I mean, I feel better than I've ever felt and more prepared than I've ever been. My life is good off of the racetrack with my family and my wife and my kids, and I don't have a lot of extra pressures that keep me from not doing this well. And so as long as I can continue to do it well and there's opportunities, you know, but I just hold it loosely. Like the Lord knows, He's got that day and that time for everything.
Maybe
and,
ministry?
You know, you never know. You know, I feel like I'm in ministry now. Of
course.
And so,
Without turning away.
yeah, I just try to hold it loosely, you know, and just try to be available and make the best of every opportunity.